Okay, hi everyone. So we will be talking about the stable economy on a global basis in the online world. So I'll take a few minutes before we start, and the contention of the discussion is the understanding of the global brands, particularly starting from Starbucks to the Indian counterparts, whether it's Paytm, YouTube, Nescafe, which is part of the trademark ownership of Nestle, which is based out in New Zealand, headquartered in New Zealand. Then domestically, we have something Meena Bazaar, which is based out in India, quite well known. And then we have something called as MII Brand Import LLC. The country of origin is Cambodia. So that's the discussion of the Ruby on Rails, which was coded um, with the assistance and the facilitation of Australia. And what we need to do is to decode everything, and decoding is not recoding. It's basically understanding the stability of the stable economy, not in terms of VIP status, but from the status of what is stable in terms of the economic value of not the chips, not the coins, but something else which is in the progress. Having said that, one data set which can be taken right now from India is the UPIs. UPIs are the Unified Payment Interface, blah, 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 blah. And the important factor of contention here is to understand the number of transactions. The transaction amount can be anything to everything. Uh, However, we are not targeting, and we should not target any Homo sapiens sapiens, especially the Homo sapiens sapiens who, at least the basic origin, if I say so, is who are living in the jurisdiction of India at least for next 48 hours and before 48 hours. So it's basically 48 into 2. That many hours will take into calculation to make it easy for the coders to code the code. Impla network is nothing to do with Python or Cobra, that has been discussed, and neither we are going into the basics what we studied in school. Uh, but it is basically how to keep up the rush and the hiking up of stuff in the fast paced communication, which is introducing the technical aspect of being more human. So I'll start in a while. Give me 3 4 minutes. So we can start now. Okay. So first of all, we are talking about the brands and why the trademarking stuff has to be taken into consideration in terms of abolishing intellectual property rights from India. Because the Trademark Act came into existence in the year 1999. Before that, we had merchandise stuff. However, brands like Nescafe, which is truly, honestly speaking, although it says vegetarian. So green mark is basically for vegetarian. But let me tell you, there's nothing called as vegetarian in the world because even these coffee beans, when they are grown, there's a lot of ants and insects which are utilized for the growing purposes. Because if we understand the basic concept of even I mean, the food chain, there's nothing called a vegetarian. People eating eggs, they are vegetarians, blah blah blah. Then somebody's eating fish, called something else. Um, the point of contention is very simple. The contention of matter is to understand that even drinking cafe comes under the category of non-vegetarian. Whether it's written vegetarian or not, that's a debate for another day. But right now, I'm talking about the labeling requirements. So I have this Nescafe Classic. This is a 10 rupee pack, which is very, very popular right now. I mean, it's a very popular drink. Honestly, cafe and people who are into coding, if you see any of the drinks, it has caffeine content because for the coding purposes, you need some kind of caffeine to, stimulate the neurons. And stimulation of neurons is very, very important. So this states that the aroma is rich, improved taste, and it's soluble coffee powder. And as compared to previous Nescafe Classic Pack, it is much improved, rich aroma. If I have to comment on that, answer would be yes. Then we have, it was manufactured in the year somewhere in April 2025, and it has the shelf life of 1 year, that is April 2026. Batch number is 511 0 4 5 2 HA. The time which is stamped here is in 22.21. That is basically 10. If I talk about IST, it's in PM. 22 is PM. 22 PM. 22. Okay, 10 PM. 10.21 PM. That is one aspect. Then basically it's marketed by Barkamba Lane, New Delhi. We all know about it. So Barkamba Lane, New Delhi. The pin code is 110 and manufactured in Karnataka. So it says let's talk. That's good. Ingredient very simple. However, I feel the main stuff should have been bold. The main stuff is not bold, so normal people won't understand it. It's just because I'm expert in food technology, honest, from Delhi University.
Milk is vegetarian or non-vegetarian?
Milk is non-vegetarian. We can talk about it later. I'm live right now. Everything is non-vegetarian. Nobody is vegetarian in this world. Okay, so this is the FSSAI license for this is license number ein 00 ein 2 0 ein 000 ein 6 and 6. And okay, dispose responsibly. So we have these two marks, but what I did is basically it says you don't need to. Okay, uh, it says not to use hot piping water, just hot milk or water will suffice the purpose. And normal people from different age groups have different taste buds for this. And this is basically another number. It's not very bold. It's ein null null. No, sorry, ein null ein two 9, FUMF 6, FUMF 9, and we have the color codings. So one can look into this color coding pattern, and you can, through the lens of Gemini, you can have the color coding patterns. So this is what Nescafe Classic is all about. But honestly speaking, from my understanding of food technology honors and biotech, and understanding the best of the both the worlds, what is important here? Okay, just give me a moment. Okay, so what is important here is it is next to impossible the kind of ecosystem we live in that we can actually have anybody called a vegetarian. Even if you go to these Haldirams and Bikaner Walas and most of the stuff, you will find insects, you will find cockroaches. There is infestation. So all these infestation stuff when you're eating, so that is causing some kind of non-vegetarian stuff. So, and from time to time, multiple cases have been filed before the consumer courts. Consumer courts are very lazy in India. Even my cases are pending. I don't go to the consumer courts because that's another headache altogether. That being said, uh, the justice system in India is totally broken. We all know about it because the time taken to solve, particularly issues related to intellectual property rights, has no value.
When you pay to consumer court their fees and they don't resolve it within time, so can you go to a
If,
consumer court of a consumer court?
we can go to the high authority. We can always do that.
No, consumer court of a consumer court.
I am live right now. Okay. So having said that, so we discussed Nescafe. So the way it can be utilized, let's talk about sustainability. All these kiddos and everybody are creating sustainable products. So this is an example of sustainability. So this is a key, a normal key. So there's nothing to do with blockchain. We discussed already. There's no block. There's no chain. Blockchain is the biggest BC, which at least the country India understands. Um, so basically, this is Meena Bazaar. So if I talk about the cost of this keychain, it's quite expensive. The INR of this Meena Bazaar tag is 14,000, 14,995. So that is one part, right? So we are talking about the cost of the keychain, and this is not an NFT. Also, it's 14,995, almost 15,000 INR in USDT. Just divide by 85. Then I have this VI postpaid connection. So this plastic is being reutilized rather than throwing it in a dustbin. Then this is basically the SIM encasing, and then this one. So officially the cost of this is quite high as compared to the keychains available anywhere in the world. So sustainability is nothing to do with these things. But the point of contention is very simple. The garbage which is created at the point has to be resolved. If we don't resolve it, then we already seeing that nature is the biggest blockchain, and we as Homo sapiens sapiens cannot fight with the nature. The more we fight with the nature is going to resist back. That being said, this clip again, it is made from the plastic water bottles which is available. Now, what has happened in Delhi? Delhi is supposed to be New Delhi, perhaps. New Delhi is the capital of India, at least for now. What happens in coming days, God only knows, because there's a tussle happening between New Delhi and Kolkata. Because because the creators, because some of these creators, what influencers, creators, and that too from a law background, have been talking about so many things without having the cognizance of impact, and the people have been taken to Kolkata, and then the girl is behind bars. Uh, the point of contention is very simple. It is not what a particular state is doing. What is important here is whether that person or that lawyer is right or wrong. I'm nobody to answer that question. However, what is important here that the onus is on YouTube, not on the creator. If any content is coming online and if it is on particular channel where it is a studio of YouTube and the consumer is coming online, we are consumers. We have to be considered as users and consumers. So it is not the fault of the girl. If there's a fault, it is the fault of YouTube. YouTube should have a full-fledged team working on it. We cannot put AI into it and say, hey, this is wrong, this is right. We have to generate employment. We cannot say that, AI is going to take our jobs. No, AI is going to create new jobs, and those new job creations have to be paid. Why companies like YouTube are thriving? They are thriving because of the nuisance which they have created themselves. What is the nuisance? The nuisance is very simple. The so-called influencers talking about XYZ from A to Z, which makes no sense to an intellectual property, a lawyer, or attorney. The point of contention is, if anything is coming from any platform, that platform has 100% responsibility. The creator, when you give leverage to the creator can talk anything because it was freedom of speech. However, here my contention here is, my understanding of intellectual property rights is, YouTube has to be questioned. The girl has to go through the process of understanding what is right and what is wrong, because being a lawyer, you have a lot of onus what you're speaking about in the online world. But here the contention here is, YouTube has to be questioned, and if YouTube is wrong, YouTube has to pay money to the government, not only the state government but the central government also. So in very simple words, whether it's Google, whether it's Facebook, any of these enterprises, maybe the CEO and the CFOs and XYZ are Indian born or something to do with India, that doesn't make them, they shouldn't get the leverage of the economy of 1.4 billion minds, because each Indian mind is very unique. I mean, the uniqueness to the level where if you give a same problem statement to everyone, you pick up anyone who is standing on the road to the most intellectual person, they will resolve the same issue in a different manner. So the point of contention here is, the charges have to be framed against YouTube, not the other way around. Again, this is a hearsay understanding of what I feel should be the correct thing, because companies are laying off people. I understand that, because AI is not a dream. AI is a reality. But at the same point of time, it is giving rise to a gig economy where people or the folks are not working for one organization, but they will be working on multiple organizations. This is one topic. Another topic is understanding the difference between know-how and technical know-how. Know-how and technical know-how is another story altogether. Probably, I think I'll be working on it and give a different aspect in some other video. But right now, what is important here is that companies like YouTube, Google, Nescafe, which states that they're vegetarian, at least come on, to an intellectual mind, it is, don't write vegetarian. Just don't even label it. Just say we don't know. That's another color coding which should come, and let the user or the person who's consuming it understand the fact that it's up to us, right, or the consumer, whether I want to be vegetarian or vegetarian, or I want to eat egg, I want to eat X, I want to eat Y. But saying it's a vegetarian is a wrong thing. Thank you for watching our video. Have a great day ahead.